Again, welcome to Java programming. In this section, we're going to talk about Java methods. So our main objective today is anatomy of a method. What is a Java method, what it consists of, etc. So method declarations. Now we are going to examine methods in more detail. We spoke about methods in classes. For example, a class consists of two things: the characteristics of the class, which is the variables or the instance variables, and also the methods. The methods is the same as function. Some programming language, we use the term function, but there's a difference between the two. A method consists of a statement that perform a specific task, or Java statements and expressions that perform a task. A function too is the same, consists of an expression or statement that perform a task. But the main difference between function and method is that a method depends on the class. A method normally belongs to a class, but a function does not belong to a class. So a static method is more or less like a function. So a function is a standalone. It doesn't belong to any class. So first we say a method declaration specifies the code that will be executed when the method is invoked. That's when the method is called. And normally a method is always called in the main method. With Java applications, methods are called in the main method. And anytime we are calling a method, we always have to associate it with an object. And the object will be the instance from the class. Again, we will see examples soon. So when a method is invoked in a main method, the flow of control jumps to the method and it executes its code. Now, when complete, the flow returns to the place where the method was called and continues. Also, the invocation may or may not return a value, depending on how the method is defined. So example was the two methods that we talk about, accessors and mutators. An accessor will always return the instant variable, so it will return the value of the instant variable. But mutators does not return the value because mutators will change the content of the variable. So how the method control flows. So here we have example. Here we say if call a method is in the same class, only the method name is needed. So when I call a method in the same class, only the method is needed. But when they are in different class, then we need the object name of the class associated with the method. So for example, here we have a compute. Here we are assuming this is one class. And we have a method called my method. And we want to compute. So if I'm calling my method, I don't need to associate it with any object. If it's again, in this case, the method is in the same class. So the call method is often part of another class or object. Then in this case, we need a method. So here you can see we have one class, then we have the main class here also. So we can see that here we have a method named help me. If we are going to use help me in the class, we don't need any object. But if I'm going to use help me or a method in another class, then we need the object. So here we say the object dot do it method. Now the object, we may create this object from the class. So here we are assuming, let's say the class name is do it. So if I want to use the constructor or in a method here, then I have to say object dot whatever method. So now when we are writing a method, the first thing we do is to have the method declaration, which will be the method header. The method header always starts with the returning type. So here, for example, our returning type is char. Now, returning type tells us what value the method will return after the execution, what data type value to return. So in this case, after the calculation is done or the task is done, this method will return a value, and that value type is char or character. Now we can have a void. Void means the method is not expecting no returning value. There's no returning value. Or we can have int, which means it's expecting a returning value integer, or double and float, expecting a returning value double or float. So first we have the returning type of the method, then the method name, in this case is calc or calculate. Then we also have the method parameter. The method parameter normally consists of the data type of the parameter and the name. So data type, variable name, comma. If we have more than one variable, then the data type, comma, data type space, num1, comma, space, then the second variable, int num2, comma, space, string message. So this is called a method header. A method header consists of the returning type of the method. If there's no returning value, it's not returning any value, then it should be void. Then the method name, and then the parameter list. Next, we go to the body of the method. The body of the method will be the execution, the statement, and the expressions that will be executed. So here we have int sum equal to num1 plus num2. This is my method. I'll find a sum. Then when I find the sum finish, I declare variable result, and I associate the message.char at sum. Then I assign message.char at sum again to the result. Then we'll return the result. So this is again, for now, I don't want us to go through the code here, but the whole concept is that method always have the method header, which consists of the method type, the returning type, the value that the method will return, and also the method name, then the parameter list, then the body of the method is where the execution takes place, the expressions, and also the statements. So we have a keyword returning. A returning statement normally returns an expression or a value back to the method. So a returning type of a method indicates the type of value that the method sends back to the calling location. So a method that does not return a value, we use the keyword void. So returning type will be void. The normally returning statement will specify the value that will be returned. So return the expression. It can be a variable. It can even be a formula. So if I have int and parameter list int a and int b, I can say return a plus b, which means I'm going to add the two values. Then I return it back to the method. So the return expression can be a value, can be a variable name, and also it can be a formula expression. So what is a parameter? Here we say that when a method is called, the actual parameter in the invocation are copied into the formal parameters in the method header. So in this case, the previous we have the int num1, num2, num3. This will be the method parameter in the class. But the actual parameter in the main method, when we call the method in the main method, is what we call the actual parameters. So here, for example, we have 25 count hello. So here, num1 we take a value 25. Num2 we take a count. Count can be represented a value. Then LO is in double quotation, so that's a string. So here we talk about what is a local data. Local data normally will be a data that is used in a specific method. So only one method, only the method that it belongs to or where it's declared and assigned, that's where it will be used. So as we have seen, local variables can be declared inside a method. And only that method, the reason why it's called local, because only that method can see the value of that variable, or can even see the variable, because it's declared inside. Now we have the global variable or class level variable, which means the variable is declared in a class. So all the methods in that class can see it. But when we declare method, a variable inside a method, only that method can see it, can use it. So we have an example of a bank account program, and we will go through it right now. What we mean by driver program is that, as we can see here, we have two files. I may write a program using other Eclipse or any Java IDE. I'm going to create a class name, let's say account.java. Account.java that class doesn't have no main method. It's just the class declaration, how many instant variables I have, how many methods I have. I can write all the methods in the account.java. Then transactions.java will be what we call the driver program, or some textbook call it test driver. This is where I'm going to have the main method. This is where I'm going to create the object based on the account class. So let's see the example here. So here we have a main, this is our main class name, transactions, public class transactions. And this is our main method. So here we have a class name account. So we start with creating account objects. So we can see here, we create account object, account 1, account 2, account 3. Then we use the constructor with the parameters, 3 parameters. So we initialize the first object, account 1, to Ted Murphy, the name. We have the amount. And also we have the third. Let's go back 1 second. Okay, we didn't specify. But again, here we are assuming we have, let's say, the ID or the zip code. So using a constructor with parameter, we're able to have 3 different transactions of 3 customers. Their names, let's say their zip code or their ID, and also their account. So that's the account number and also the amount. Now, after that, we decided that, okay, we want to deposit an amount to account 1. So deposit is a method. When we use the method, we have to associate it to an object. So we have an object named account 1, which is from the account class. And in account class, we have the deposit method. So here I wrote account 1.deposit. I'm adding 25.85 into account 1 object. So which means in my account class, I surely have to have the deposit method, otherwise I'll get an error. Here also we said account 2.deposit again, $500. But when we deposit the amount, we want to save it in a different variable. So we declare variable type double. The name is Smith balance. Then later we print the balance. Smith balance after deposit is this. So we're going to add 500 to the amount. So now next we print system.out.println Smith balance after withdrawal, account.withdraw. So we have a withdraw method in account class, and it takes 2 arguments, 430.75 and $1.50. So actually we withdraw the amount for $430.75, and we pay a fee of $1.50. So remember, we have our account 1, account 2, account 3 object already. So here we should have a method called add interest in the account class. So we're going to add interest to all the 3 objects. Then after that, we print the content of the 3 objects. So we can go back one more time. Again, this is the whole concept of object-oriented programming. This is my test driver, or the program driver, or the test driver. Test driver is where you have the main class that you have the main method. So that's our main method, public static void main string argument. We have account class already, so we're able to create 3 account objects. We use the constructor with the 3 parameters. After that, we use the method deposit. And we have to associate which object we want to use the deposit on. We are using it on account 1. So we say account 1.deposit. We deposit $25.85. Then account 2, we deposit $500. But after that, we put our updated balance to a new variable named Smith balance. Then we print the value inside. Now, next, what we do, we withdraw $430.75. We pay a fee of $150 using the withdraw method. It should be in the account class. Then we use another method, add interest, to add interest to the 3 objects, and then print the content of it. So now let's go to the account class. So in the account class, we have a constant variable 0.035, which means 3.5% interest. 3.5% is the same as 0.03. And we declare this constant, so we use the keyword final, which means we can change the rate only here, not in the program. So we have 3 instant variables: account number, the balance, and the name. So first, we set up the account for defining its owner, account number, and the initial balance. So that's our constructor. So we have the owner, the account number, and also the initial amount. So we assign owner to the name. Remember, this is again default constructor. Owner to the name, account to account number, initial to the balance. Then we should have our deposit method, as we said, since we call it with the object type. So here, if I want to deposit, I'll add the amount that I'm depositing into my previous amount. The answer I'll get will be my new amount balance. Then I'll return the balance to the method. Now, to withdraw a specified amount from account and reapply the fees, in this case, we have to subtract an amount that we are withdrawing, and also we have to subtract the fee that we are paying, in this case from the balance, because we are withdrawing from our balance. Then we assign it to a balance again. That will be our new balance. Then we return the balance. Next, we have add interest. Interest, we know, is the rate times the balance. So rate times the balance, I'm going to add it to the balance and assign it to the balance variable. So we have plus equal. Plus equal means balance equal to balance plus balance dot rate. So next, return the current balance of the account. So this is like what we say, the assessor. So get balance, we just return balance. Then we also have to string method to make sure our output is in the format of the string. So when I run this program, this is what we get: the account number, the balance, the name, account number, balance, and name. Now the name is actual string, double quotation. but the rest of the values here are int, which will be the account number and also the balance. Name again is a string. So there are some improvements that can be made to the account class. We can use the format getters and setters, which will help us to be able to access the instant variables, and also setters, which means we can be able to manipulate the instant variables. So here we say the design of some method could also be more robust, such as verifying that the amount parameter to the withdrawal method is positive. Then here we have constructors revisited. As we said earlier lectures, constructor name is the same as the class name. Constructor doesn't expect no returning value, and also it doesn't expect any void, nothing. So here we say note that constructors has no returning type specified in the method header, not even void. So constructor doesn't have no void, nothing. And a common error is to put a returning type on the constructor. Constructor main goal is to initialize or create an object. It doesn't return value back to a method or the function. So which make it a regular method that happens to have the same name as the class. So here the programmer does not have to define constructor for a class. It will automatically be called. Default constructor will be called. Each class has a default constructor that accepts no parameters. So here we have a quick check. How do we express which account object balance is updated when a deposit is made? Now, when a deposit is made means we have to call the deposit method. And how do we know which object is balanced? This is a method, so always we have to associate the method name again with the class object. So the answer here will be each account is referenced by an object reference variable. So if object name is object 1, then I can say object 1 dot deposit. Argument is only $1, $50 or $100. So this is an example, more or less like constructor. Account my account declaration equal to new account. Dynamically allocate the memory space for the object name. The object is my account or my ACCT. Now, if I want to deposit $50 to the object my account, then I have to say my account dot deposit $50. So this will be the conclusion of our lecture. In this lecture here, we went more detail about what is a method. We've been using method from day one. We started with the main method. Then we came to classes. We talked about classes consists of variables and methods. In the class, we saw how methods are declared and how the body method are written, and how to call the method in a class method in a main method of the program. So again, wish everybody the best. Thank you. Again, comment, like, and subscribe this video. Thank you.